The Adventure of the Exploding Airship, A Hope and Gracie Mystery, by John L. French. The shadow of the Ada Lovelace darkened the scene of the crime as it flew over. I thought this ironic, since the scene was a debris field created by the explosion of its sister ship, the Charles Babbage, just an hour ago, leaving parts of the Babbage strewn across a fortunately unoccupied grassy bank of the Thames. We waited while it passed. When it was gone and the newly risen sun again shone on the scene, I looked down, and there I saw it. The footprint of a gigantic hound. I knew it could only be. "Gracie!" I called, confident that my partner was within earshot. She usually is, and that day was no different. With a woof, she bounded over. "Oh, excuse my manners. I am Detective Sergeant Adrian Hope. My partner is a dog, a great galumphing beast, an Irish wolfhound whose name had been Grania Nimal, after the pirate queen who had bedeviled Queen Elizabeth. But since Gaelic is officially frowned upon, I anglicized her name to Grace O'Malley. Gracie when we're not being formal. As I said, she came running over with what I can only describe as a smile on her face, happy to be at what she regarded as play, and the rest of us as the serious business of crime and the capture of those who committed it. "Gracie," I said again, this time sharply, bringing her to a stop just before she leapt upon me and knocked me over as she has so many times before. She stopped and gave that head-tilting look that asked what I wanted. "Just wanted to know where you were. We do have work to do, you know." She didn't know. Work has no meaning in her limited vocabulary. Not for the first time did I look her over in admiration and wonder. 90 pounds and 30 inches tall when on all fours. She's 6.5 feet just on her back legs. When I want someone stopped, I just tell Gracie to give them a hug. Brindle in color, her coat is rough and hard, and her bearded face reminds me of an East Ender after a week-long binge. Despite being a sighthound, she's got an exceptional nose for her breed. Better than mine, at any rate. As I wrote a note for Gracie to take to the yard, it's one of the things she's trained to do, I heard a familiar voice. "Are you still partnered with that dumb beast?" I turned around to see Detective Inspector Percy Gerard approaching. "Have a care, Inspector. Gracie's an intelligent, noble hound." He smiled. "I was talking to the dog. Now then, Hope, what do you have for me?" Just before sunrise, those few who were going to work or coming home from Lord knows where reported an explosion overhead followed by a great ball of fire. Most of the debris fell into the Thames, the rest on this bank. "An airship explosion?" I nodded. "Haven't had one of them for a while, not since the Air Ministry instituted proper safety measures." "I know, sir, which is why this is troubling. Also troubling is that it's certain that the airship is the Charles Babbage." "I've not heard of that one. Aren't airships usually named after former monarchs? Saving King John, of course." "They are, sir, but the Charles Babbage and the Ada Lovelace are special cases. They're autonomous, designed to operate without a crew, guided only by an analytical engine that's based on the works of the human Babbage and Lovelace. The two ships are on their test run, flying a fixed course from London to Reading and back." "Without a crew, you say?" "Yes, sir. So if the test flights are successful, autonomous airships could cost quite a few airmen their jobs." "Yes, sir. So we're either dealing with an accident or—" I finished for the inspector. "Luddite-style sabotage and murder." "Murder, Sergeant?" "Yes, Inspector. One person is supposed to be aboard each airship to take control should something go wrong." "And the person who was aboard the Babbage?" I looked toward the river and then to the grassy bank. "I believe that most of him is in the Thames, and the rest of him is probably scattered along the bank." "Any pieces yet?" "No, sir, but I've only just arrived. Enough time for a first walk through. I've put the constables who were on site at my arrival to searching. You can see them at the far end of the scene boundaries. But I need more men to do a proper job. I was just about to send Gracie with a request for some irregulars to help us with the finding and recovery of evidence.